I think we have a lot of conversations, hopefully, to look forward to in our future as this bill goes down and developments come from it. I do want to ask about one more number, though. The number is 9.4 billion, and that's how much the White House is asking back from Congress in a rescissions package. What do you make of that number?
Well, let's do that math on top of our head. If we borrow 6 billion a day, next year we're at $7 billion a day, so that'd be one day, 4 hours of borrowing. One day, 4 hours of borrowing, and there becomes look. We don't have a choice. Um, don't tell anyone because this is our secret. I actually like listening to NPR. I have a history of giving money to K-Bach, which is our classical music station in Phoenix. But in a time where you're have debates of do you have cash to even cover healthcare, but the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, okay, so you eliminate its spending. That's 2 hours and 15 minutes of borrowing for an entire year. And there becomes the rhetorical problem in the United States is we'll get dozens of tweets or X's or whatever the hell we call those. There'll be lots of people commenting on media and then not telling the truth that some of these things, a tiny, tiny tick in interest rates wipes out the value of that 9 billion. If just the movement in interest rates so far the last few months is a couple trillion additional borrowing over this decade, the lack of understanding of the math, you got to do everything you can to restrict spending. But if we don't convince the debt markets that we're serious, just small movements in interest rate wipe out every dime of savings we're working on.
Congressman, I mean, that's just a fascinating, eye-opening, jaw-dropping point. 4 hours of borrowing is how much $9.4 billion
Well, no,
would be.
1 day, 4 hours. 1 day,
So one
4
day
hours.
and 4 hours. Okay. So what, but
And,
still, I mean,
but
that's still, it's a crazy number.
it's
That is,
nothing.
it's nothing. And to that point, then, do you think, and before I even ask this, I'm not poo-pooing a couple billion
No,
dollars. Obviously, that's it. That's just, it's a lot of zeros, but it's comparatively small to, as you said, the national debt. It's comparatively small to the budget. So do you think it's worth cutting these types of things? Is that more just for show? So,
no. Actually, I would take you a different way. Think of the concept of muscle memory. You have to do something and then do it over and over and over to get it into your culture that you have a society that has gotten old. You know, I tried to explain this last night. 20 years ago to today, we had the same number of 18-year-olds, but we have double the number of people 65 and up. If we're going to keep our promises, the earned benefits that are promises, if we're going to keep them, we don't have a choice. We're going to have to actually go up and down government and modernize it, redesign it, and make actual decisions on what we spend money on. And if this is 9 billion here, or some of the major bills I'm working on that are much, much bigger, how do you build it as part of your culture that this is our reality? This is not 20 years ago where US debt was 3% of GDP. This year it's going to be like 7.2, 7.3% of the entire economy is borrowed. And in 9 years, it's over 9% of the entire economy is borrowed. Think of this, in 9 years, about 30% of all tax collections just pays interest. You don't have a choice. We're going to have to start doing adult, difficult things. This is the reality of what we are as a society.
well, Congressman, I think that is a good place to end the conversation. And like I said, I hope we can have plenty more of these soon, especially as we see the one big beautiful bill go through the Senate, back to the House. Congressman David Schweikert, I really appreciate the conversation. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you for having me.